Hello, and welcome to Movie Buzz Review Dude, the first of hopefully what will be many reviews and thoughts on books, movies, the world of pop culture and such, as you like it. What I hope to bring to the YouTube community that's different than most is, I don't know, a sense of pure aesthetics rather than just simple cliches like, oh, the action was cool, oh, the casting was cool, oh, blah, 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 this, blah, 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 that. I like to consider myself a kind of student of film, and so I think that I hope to bring that to you today. And so I'm going to begin with my review of Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows. Now, you may notice videos similar to mine around the net. You may notice Mr. Black's, whom I respect. He's out there. He makes some movie reviews. I like to consider myself different from him because I'm just going to speak to you. I'm not going to talk over clips of movies. I want my analysis of movies to be a little more in-depth, and plus I'll share my thoughts on much more than simply movies. So I hope you enjoy it, and I hope this amounts to something a little bit more than just random ramblings online. So today, I'm going to read to you my review of Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows. Now, before I go into this review, I'm a massive Harry Potter fan, so there may be a bit of a bias there, but I hope to give a fair and impartial review that really considers the Harry Potter literature on its true merits, rather than simply, oh, it's fantasy, it's fun, or, oh, I like Harry Potter, so I like this movie. So, yeah. So I hope you enjoy my review of Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows. J.K. Rowling, in her few short years as a novelist, has become richer than the Queen of England. Her net worth is, by now, well over $1 billion, not exactly something to sniff at. Why the popularity? What's so special about Harry Potter? Why do millions upon millions of readers worldwide for nearly 10 years now flock to the bookstores every couple of years to hungrily devour the adventures of this young boy wizard? Is it luck? Chance? Some freak publishing phenomenon? If you look at the great fantasy novelist J.R.R. Tolkien, who never knew this kind of fame in his lifetime, Rowling becomes even more of a puzzle. It always seems the greats are to be destined not to be remembered until their deaths. So while the hype, buzz, and ecstatic joy over the adventures of Harry, one of the most ignorant analyses I ever read about Harry Potter was that it is the new secularism. God dies in the novels, for he is never even mentioned. And to replace him, this Time magazine writer says, Rowling puts the simple human emotion of love. To prove how no novelist has done this before, this writer gives Tolkien as an example, who wrote The Lord of the Rings, which has strong roots in Catholicism and a deep abiding love for the untouched English countryside. The latter may be true, but the first sentence is one of the stupidest I've read in such a reputable magazine. Anybody who knows anything about Tolkien knows that he hated allegory. In fact, he and C.S. Lewis famously disagreed, and their two magnum opuses, The Lord of the Rings and The Chronicles of Narnia, exemplify this. Whereas Lewis's series of novels have clear Christian undertones, Tolkien's novels can of course be used to draw parallels, but Tolkien never wrote it as some grand allegory to Catholicism. It was a grand epic adventure, pure and simple, and Christianity was not to be read into with simple easy parallels like Narnia. Aslan equals Jesus. At one point, this Time writer wrote, if you want the answer to who dies in the Harry Potter series, the answer is easy. God. What an ignorant thing to say. What a stupid, completely idiotic statement to make. What kind of journalism is this? Rowling has never publicly stated anywhere that she wishes to kill God in this series of novels. Her characters simply live in a world where God does not exist. Is there some all-powerful being in Tolkien's novels? No. Gandalf and Sauron are the closest ones, and neither of them is good enough to be God or even come close to symbolize him. Does this mean Tolkien meant to kill God? Of course not. He was a devout Catholic. The overt fallacy of this article was stating that love was a simple human emotion, to which I respond, what? First of all, love is anything but simple, and if one knows anything about Christianity, God is love. How can Rowling be trying to kill God if love is the most powerful magical force the wizarding world has ever seen? In her world, just like Tolkien, there is very clear good and very clear evil. Harry is a Christ figure, and Voldemort is the embodiment of pure evil. Sure, Harry is flawed, he's human, but at the end of the day, he's a good person. There is no ambiguity to this in the novels. Everyone who is good, and everyone who is bad. And to bring everything back to why the Harry Potter world resonates so deeply with so many people is quite simply that. The love, that is why the boy who lived, lives. That is why many people. It is quite simply that. The love, and that is why the boy who lived, lives. That is why this series will not fade into the dark past of pulp fiction that is merely popular in its time. This kind of popularity is not an accident, but if it had ended badly, it could very well have fell off its mighty pedestal and slowly been forgotten. Anyone remember the Matrix trilogy? Fortunately for all of us, the Deathly Hallows turns out to be a marvelously written book that brings all the myriad threads throughout the book together and finishes on the perfect note that really could not have been written otherwise. Last we left our heroes, Voldemort was gaining more and more power, Hogwarts was becoming a very dangerous place, and Harry, Ron, and Hermione had decided to not return to Hogwarts the next year. The book begins with a deliciously creepy scene of the Death Eaters and Voldemort as they make their plan on how they will catch Harry. Then we jump to the Dursleys' home, where Harry is saying his goodbyes, and him and his friends, as he prepares to leave to the safe house of the Weasleys. There is an odd scene where Dudley acts more friendly towards Harry than he ever has before, which I found to be a bit of a transparent attempt to give an otherwise one-dimensional character more life. I mean, when has he ever come close to even giving Harry a second glance that wasn't laced with evil intent? It was forgivable, though, as it was an otherwise fairly sweet scene. Even in this dark time of pain and horror, Rowling manages to inject magic into the mix as a bunch of Harry's protectors drink Polyjuice Potion to resemble him, and thus fool potential Death Eaters. They rise into the sky and are instantly attacked, and in the ensuing battle, Rowling makes it explosively clear that no character is safe, as a killing curse does away with Hedwig. When Hagrid nearly dies shortly after that, in my opinion, Rowling was going to kill him, but chickened out. Our sense of security that had calmly nestled into our brains to the people we loved were repeatedly spared has been shaken so badly that we hold our breath every time we turn the page. Mad-Eye Moody is discovered to have died as well. Shortly thereafter, one of the Weasley twins loses an ear in a heart-wrenching scene. By the time Bill and Fleur's wedding is rolled around, the dark and somber mood of the novel has settled in and it shows no signs of lifting. Rowling injects a bit of life into the novel with the wedding, but even that is overshadowed when a Patronus arrives from Kingsley to inform them that the Death Eaters have taken control from the Ministry of Magic. Then the run begins as their three heroes disapparate away. For the rest of the book, Rowling keeps a fairly steady pace as Harry, Ron, and Hermione barely squeeze through close call after close call. When they discover what the Deathly Hallows actually are, I breathe a sigh of relief. I give props to Rowling for putting this in the novel, as one thing I was afraid of was that the wave of Horcruxes begun in the sixth novel would ride along easily until the end. For some people, the extensive talk about the Hallows may slow the novel down a bit, but this is to be the fault of expectations, not Rowling's writing skills.